I got into dry stone walling around the time that I was finishing my master's degree at the University of North Carolina, or at least I was trying to. And I think I was looking for something a little more concrete. You know, I had sort of been working in abstraction in theory for 2 years plus, and I just needed something to ground me. And so I took a job in Washington working at the Smithsonian Folklife Festival, and I happened to run into that year a dry stone waller who was brought over from Wales to build walls on the National Mall. And it really caught my attention, and he was kind enough to invite me over to live and work with him for a while afterward. And I had a realization on a hillside one day that that might be something I would want to do long term. What was really satisfying for me in that moment was being out in a landscape that was gorgeous all day, every day. Every day was like a hike, it was like a picnic, it was like going to the gym, all of that rolled into one. But for me, what was the most satisfying was going out, expending X amount of really hard labor, and at the end of the day, you can look at what you've done. And in this medium with that material, because it is so durable when you do it the traditional way, you know it's going to be there for hundreds of years. And on this particular job where I had this realization, it was a wall which was originally built in, I think, the 18th century, and no one had touched it since then. And so you find yourself on the hillside sort of wondering, who were these people? How much did they get paid? What were their lives like, you know? And I kind of think somebody's going to see it in a couple hundred years and wonder that about me. As I understand it, a stonemason is someone, like, they would be the people who build the great cathedrals. They do very ornate work, they carve, they chip. It's very precise. And what we try to do is pick up a stone as it comes in nature and make that work. So we tend not to use tools if we can help it. We consider that a waste of time, you know, and if you've picked up a stone and it's not what you want, then you've probably picked up the wrong stone. Which is not to say that you don't dress the face or chip off a corner or an awkward bit occasionally, but for the most part, you use it as it comes. I got my start in Wales, and I still go back for at least a couple months every year to continue training with my mentor. And what we do there often is just restoring farm walls that have been there, again, for several hundred years. So you might be out on a hillside, and you may not see anybody but possibly a hiker all day, and you're just sort of out there with cattle and sheep. You're stripping out a wall, so basically you are taking out both sides of the stone, which come together like a zipper. You know, if you look at it from the top, that's how it looks. So you're pulling those out to each side. That's called stripping out. And then once you get it all cleared and you figure out what's what and make sure your foundations are solid, you rebuild. But that's usually not what I'm able to do here. It's always new construction, so I'm ordering in stone on pallets, having to cut those open and figure out what's in there. Sometimes you don't find what you want in the middle. It may not be usable stone. It's funny, you get to know your stone yards, you know, in your home area. But when you first start walking into those places as a woman, especially if you're not wearing your overalls, let's say you're in your street clothes, you get a lot of funny looks. And anytime I have to go to Lowe's to pick up, I don't know, like a bag of concrete, if I'm setting a gate post or something, you know, all the men are kind of turn and look. So that's been something to get used to. But most people are nice about it. You know, one day I think I was heaving about 25, 50-pound bags of concrete into the back of my dad's truck, and this guy said, "You own a farm?" And I said, "No, I don't own a farm." He said, "Well, you go, girl." Clients also sort of seem really entertained by the fact that I'm a woman. There are a lot of things about me that tend to surprise my clients. I mean, you don't necessarily know it unless you've read deeply in my website, but or looked at the pictures on the website. But A, I'm a woman. B, I'm coming into this career not because I had to. I have a master's degree. I could go teach, I could be doing any number of things with that, but I love this, and so that's what I'm doing. So they're surprised by that. They love the woman factor, and they love to hear the story about Wales. They just think it's all crazy. So in a way, I think that appeals to people too. I'm a little different. They don't quite know what to make of me. So I usually wind up getting invited in for dinner or for a drink or something, and I don't mind. So if you're using stone in its natural form today in a dry stack wall, it's an aesthetic preference basically, but originally it just would have been field clearance, you know, farmers clearing their fields and also making a way to keep the animals out. I think my current project here in Virginia is probably the most exciting. It's the first time I've been asked to work with landscape architects. It's a long wall, it's 125 feet, it's got a lot of curves, a lot of height changes, and so it's a real challenge. These landscape architects have done a really good job of designing for the landscape as it is. Like, it's not a major shift. We're not moving a lot of earth. I think it's complementary to what's already here. It's just an enhancer, you know, and it should be here for a long time to come. For me, the key to happiness has been learning to trust my gut. I think we're programmed to follow rules when we're younger. Maybe that's what keeps you safe when you're young. But, when you get a little older, you have these inklings. Like when I had my first office job, I thought, I don't know about this. I don't know if I can do this for the rest of my life. And, I've been lucky that A, opportunities have arisen, and B, my family's been supportive when I've had slow moments with work and in between things. I cooked professionally for a while. I farmed for a little bit. And of course, I'm back and forth between here and Wales, and that takes some support, so I've been lucky to have it. But yeah, trust your gut, and don't be afraid to try things, and don't worry so much about what everybody else thinks.